Jiu-jitsu is a grappling sport, but there are still a lot of micro ranges within this grappling. It's not like we're just hugging each other the entire time. This is a crazy concept when Rob started explaining it to me, where I was like, why didn't I ever understand this? There are different ranges in guard. There are a lot of different ranges everywhere in Jiu-Jitsu, but at guard, we look at longest range frames to the shortest range frames. Here, spider guard is going to be one of our longest range frames that we can use. This is typically the furthest range guard we're going to talk about. There's feet on the hips, very far distance. As Stephan moves closer to me, an example of Delahiva, we're getting a little bit closer. My foot's not necessarily pushing him away. I'm utilizing a hook here and my shin, but we see that Stephan has actually gotten closer to me. If Stephan starts moving around to the other side, reverse Delahiva, he's gotten even closer to my hips and my head at this point. From here, if he starts breaking this control and I move back and I get to a half guard, we're even closer yet again. And then obviously deep half is going to be one of our last stages that we're able to use where I can still be very offensive from here and have a lot of great options, but it's extremely close range. You're one step away from basically just here and you're in side control on me. So the first idea of this, of the ranges of guard, is just understanding where the ranges are taking place and knowing how much we have to fall back on. So the great thing about this idea is that if you have a long range guard, you're going to have more options for retention as well as more options for guards to fall back on. If you are, say, a half guard player, there's nothing wrong with that. Guys like Bernardo Faria destroy people in half guard even at the highest level. You have less to fall back on. And so it's just something to be super aware of, that if you develop a deep half guard game and that is always your plan A that you go to, it can be done in specific circumstances. Within a sport context, I think it's safe to an extent. Self-defense, we're getting into much more dangerous territory where you want to make sure you have more layers of defense. And so if you're that kind of person that's developing a guard where you have, say, I love reverse Delahiva, worm guard, it's all off your back in this recumbent guard at this one specific range. If someone can force you into a different range that you're not comfortable with, you're going to be, a big hole in your game is going to be exposed.
It's not even going to be comfortable at that range.
Exactly. For me, I was really good at butterfly guard, single leg X, and X guard. That was my game. I really gravitated towards leg locks. But if someone put me on my back and I was forced all of a sudden into this recumbent guard, I didn't have a plan at like the blue belt stage. And so that's where, like, as I got better, I needed to develop Delahiva, and then I started developing my half guard and then my deep half. So then if someone's like, all right, Rory's leg locks are a pain in the ass, I'm going to put him on his back. But then they go, holy crap, his Delahiva and Mantis guard is really good. This sucks. They finally break through that. Oh, his half guard's good too. There's all these layers that I can stop him and be aggressive and being able to actually turn the battle in my favor. But I also have the retention and purposes for that.
Now you mentioned a couple of other guards there, butterfly, single leg X, and X.
Yeah.
What range is butterfly guard?
So the ranges come down to this idea of your placement to me. So here we're at a further distance. So this is where seated guard, for example, like a butterfly guard, whether it's a kneeling or standing opponent, this is one of the longest range guards in a sense. Because at this point, this gives me that ability to move and to be able to attack and win that engagement phase. That's why we see people sit to their butt and play this game, especially in competition jiu-jitsu. However, battle can change really quickly, that if you stand up and you manage to, say, step in between my legs here, my head is all of a sudden right up against your chest. So it can all of a sudden become an extremely close range guard. So it's one of those ones where it's an anomaly that can fit at the very end, closer stages, but also at the further stage and the closest. Where here, the ability on my back is to create so many walls between me and my opponent that obviously being able to use my legs to their fullest extent is going to keep you at a very long range. Butterfly guard, if you're kneeling, I'm now falling back to closer ranges. Still very effective, unless I'm on my back. This isn't a great place to be in butterfly guard, but I have at least my shins and my knees being able to keep you back, and I still have my arms being able to control the space. So I'm still able to be very effective here. Even closer, close guard. This is one that still plays within this range. This is an extremely close, a very close range of guard in the close guard, because now your hips are right up against mine. This is why it's dangerous in MMA and self-defense context, because you have access to my head. You're going to be able to hit me with strikes, versus if I'm playing an open guard like this, it's very difficult for you to hit me. It's also difficult for you to pass because of the nature of me clamping your hips. X guard and single leg X are guards that become close range as well, but you're standing, so I have a great deal of space to work with, and I have strong manipulation of your hips because of these long levers, very strong position, but if you were able to say access the lever and take one step out, he's very close to being past my guard because he's right above me. So the distance we're looking at is relative here, the space between us. The closer you get to this end goal of having your chest attached to my chest so that he has rotational control of my body and the ability to shut down my movement of my hips and shoulders, I'm screwed. So if you're a spider guard player, don't just play spider guard. Start to develop De La Riva, start to develop half guards that you have these just, even if it's just for retention at this point. Half guard for me for the longest time wasn't a guard that I chose to attack from, but I damn well knew how to use half guard, stop an opponent from passing, and use it to get back to, say, De La Riva or full guard or closed guard if that's what you're into. Because people will ultimately find a way to get you there. So, good passers will always try and force the guard that you're least comfortable with, whether they know you or not. Even at just rolling with someone for the first time, if I'm standing in front of Stephan and he sits and he starts moving towards me, he's comfortable here. I know he's comfortable here because this is where Stephan's choosing to fight from. So if I can put Stephan on his back, this being Rory at a blue belt stage, I was like, oh crap. My guard retention was all right from there, but I had no offense for the most part. That wasn't something that I was interested in a while until I started to get exposed to that hole in my game. And then obviously moving through the belt phases, the different progressions, that's where I started developing all these different ranges. So it's like, no matter where you force me to, you're good. So nothing wrong with having close range guards that are your preferred mode of attacking, but understand the risks that can play within your development. And someone like Bernardo Faria, who is a half guard player, he's very good at deep half, he's very good at positional escapes, but he's also very good at other further range guards. Just like King Cornelius is really good at worm guard, that's one of the main things he's known for. He doesn't just play that range, he's very good seated, and he's very good from half guard. So it's always about creating a well-rounded game, making sure that you're covering all the different ranges of guard.